right next to Doc Evans.
Oh, they did, okay. Alrighty, thank you.
These speakers are extra sensitive.
Boy, they are, you can hear that.
Oh, Mary, just saw you sent me a text.
It did, yeah. You were here. This didn't count down, so I feel like when? Good evening. I would like to welcome you to the July 8th, 2019 school board meeting for those watching on television and those in our audience. So welcome. We're going to start with a roll call and determination of quorum. Madam Secretary, can we have that, please?
You bet. Director DeBeat,
Here.
Draba, Finn,
Here.
Mather,
Here.
McCarter,
Here.
Neighbor, Wildermuth.
Here.
A quorum is present.
Thank you. Let's all stand and recite the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Our next item on the agenda is a welcome to all of you in the audience, our media representatives, if there are some present, and just welcome to the meeting. The next item would be Citizen Speaks. If there's anyone from the audience that would like to come to the podium over here and speak, we would entertain that now. You would have 3 minutes to present your case, and then we will not be responding. Is there anyone that has anything to ask? Okay. Seeing none. Oh, Jackie does, sorry. Welcome, Jackie.
Thank you so much. It's good to be back here with you all again. My name is Jacqueline McCoy. I live at 2114 Schley, Muscatine, Iowa. I am a proud citizen of Muscatine. Went to school here. My kids have gone to school here. Only have one more, praise God. And then I will be done. But not students done, but not done with having an interest in the Muscatine Community School District or giving my time to it. I want you to know that I am happy to always be a part of helping this district shape the future of all kids, not just my kids. And so it's to that extent that I once again come before you all, asking you to carefully reconsider or consider, because no vote has been made yet, the naming of the new Muscatine Junior High School after Susan Clark, the daughter of Alexander Clark. Many of us think that this is a very important opportunity for Muscatine, and so we're excited about continuing to bring this to your attention. Now, I can talk loud no matter what.
You're on again. You're okay.
So a week or so ago, I was at the Muscatine School District office on Mulberry, and as you come through the doors, written on the wall says, Muscatine schools will develop a community of successful learners and leaders. And I was struck by that because I think how exciting that my kids get to go to a community school district that believes that. And as I did a little more looking on the website, one of our key core values is development of engaged future community leaders. And it's for this reason that I beg you to consider naming the new junior high middle school after Susan Clark, because the Clark family and Susan herself embodies that kind of role that you are wanting our students to learn and to exemplify now. The Clark family, through their activism, charted the way for all kids to be able to attend public schools together and to have quality education long before the Brown v. Board of Education case came to be that gave that opportunity for children. It was Susan Clark and Alexander Clark and community members in Muscatine that started that ball to rolling, that made it so that my kids can go to school with their friends today. The Clark family has integrated higher learning with both Alexander Jr. and Alexander Sr. becoming attendees at the University of Iowa Law School and becoming graduates. We see international leadership through Alexander Clark Sr. becoming an ambassador to Liberia. And then just what they did for the Muscatine community, gathering people from the African-American race and the Caucasian race together and becoming a whole community. This is why we ought to consider naming it after Susan Clark. Now I know, and I've had this conversation, and I've heard it, that if you ask the average Muscatine citizen, so what do you know about Alexander Clark? What do you know about Susan Clark? You might be met with blank stares. You might say, is that the guy who we named the candy bar after him? It's about missing information or misinformation. So what a great opportunity for the Muscatine school system to really engage lifelong learners by naming the school after Susan Clark and forever being able to provide education to our community. So not just for the students that will be attending there, but for their parents, their grandparents, their future children, their future grandchildren, and generations to come. I want us to, when we think back to our core values, think about being the leaders we want the kids to become. And one of those ways is by leading the way of educating people about our history of Muscatine through the Clark family and naming the school after Susan Clark. Thank you.
Thank you, Jackie. Is there anyone else who would like to come before the board this evening? All right, well then I'm going to move on. Our next item will be students will graduate prepared for post-secondary options. And Jerry, I believe you have an update for us.
Yeah, I just wanted to give the board a brief update on some work that we have started this summer, looking at and we're calling it, at the time being, a pathways school. What we're looking at is a way that we can provide students, beginning in the 9th grade, an alternative setting that will provide them a clearer path to vocational preparation. So what we're looking at is a program where the first 2 years, their freshman and sophomore year, they would really be concentrating on academic preparation, problem-solving skills, work ethic, the soft employment skills, vocational experiences, so that their junior and senior year, they could really become embedded in programs at MCC, either in an associate's type program or a certification program. But our goal would be for those students to graduate with an academic certificate as well as a vocational certificate. Now, there are some things that we have to work through on this, and this is why it's going to take some time, because we need to work with MCC to see how this is going to work. We've been having the conversation that this could be at MCC. We would be having to look at how do we adapt our high school graduation credits so that they meet with the right courses, because we don't want this to be less than, we want this to be a value-add experience. And then we also are looking at how do we get field experiences, internships for these kids as they get into that part of the program. Some people have said, well, that sounds like what East Campus was, and there's a very big difference here. East Campus was really a credit recovery program where for kids that had already gotten themselves into a hole, and then they had to find a way to dig themselves out. And what we found is that they were not able to take care of those issues and then leave school really prepared for the world of work. So we really want to focus on that. So what we're looking at is we would start with one 9th grade class, 30 to 50 kids. The next year we would add the 10th grade, we'd add the 11th grade. It'd be a building process. But this is something that would really be fairly unique certainly in Iowa, where you would be combining a high school experience with a vocational program and having kids leaving school with that kind of experience. So the plan is next month. Gretchen Price, who had been the principal at Colorado and came to education in kind of an alternative way, is leading this effort, doing the planning. We've had a meeting with MCC, and I think we are going to, I think we can make some good headway with this. But again, I think this is really something that could be unique for Muscatine, but could really help some of our kids that come into ninth grade without really, they're not seeing a purpose for why should they go to school. They're just not seeing the connection between high school and the rest of my life. And what we need to do, if we're going to really tackle the dropout problem and really tackle underemployment, if we're really going to tackle underperformance, is that we've got to find a way to hook them into something that would give them that meaning and purpose and direction. And so we're going to work through this, and the hope is that in the 2021 school year would be the first class that would take part in this program. But we do have, like I said, there are a number of hurdles in front of us, but I'm confident that we can work our way through those.
Does any of the board have questions in regard to this?
I have one, Jerry.
Yeah.
How would students get into the program? You mentioned the East Campus being a credit recovery, but this sounds more like it could be open to anyone?
Yeah,
or-
this, you know, it probably is not for the kids that are saying, I'm a four-year college person. I mean, we have a great response for those kids at our high school. You're not going to find many programs that are better than Muscatine High School for preparing that. Where I don't think we have the response we need are for those kids that would be successful if we could connect them to the right set of activities, the right direction, the right perspective on this. And so it's going to have, it really is not a program for behavior non-compliant kinds of kids, because we're going to have people that are going to say, I want to work on this, and because this will not be, a walk in the park. There's going to be effort in this to do this. We also need, at the same time, we have to address these non-compliant behavior kids. What is our response going to be for those? Because they have an impact on a school that really is not only self-defeating for them, but defeating of our purpose for other kids. So we need to have a better response for that. But what we really, I think we can address these kids that would possibly become dropouts if we can catch them early enough and get them on a path of meaning.
So would it be fair to say that this is kind of an effort to fill a skilled labor deficit? Like construction trades and plumbers and electricians and those type of
The pre-engineering and all those there is no doubt that that when you look at the workforce today, non-skilled labor is not going to be a pathway to a middle-class life, or it's going to be very difficult. Everyone's going to need to have a set of marketable skills moving forward. We have those kids that I think we can get there, but right now we're losing because there's a path of, well, it looks like this academic path that you go on to, or I just don't. What we want to do is get that turned around, that those kids that are not seeing themselves at a four-year school, or maybe even a two-year school, but see themselves, I would like to have something when I leave high school that will be productive. I think we can make a difference. And if you have 30 to 50 kids a year leaving there with that kind of training, that kind of skill, and there's a place for those kids in our hometown industries, it's going to make a difference in our community. And I wish there was a quick fix for all of this stuff, but I think this is one of the ways that we can address this problem of underemployed adults is by making sure that they leave high school with some skills that can be marketable.
Jelly,
Go ahead.
I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm just like quick question here. Are we talking about establishing a program that is similar to the academy, or is it different? What would be the nature
It would be
of that?
different in that it's going to start that ninth grade year, and what we want to do is, in a very supportive environment, give them the opportunity to not only get their academic skill set, but use those in an application model, more of a workplace model that we hope that those kids will really grab onto. The academy model is great for kids that they kind of go through the first 2 years of high school or first 3 years of high school and decide this is where I want to go and I'm really going to concentrate on that. We want to help kids as they're coming in explore what direction might they want to go to. We're not asking ninth graders to decide, I want to be an electrician, I want to be a welder, I want to be a dental hygienist. But we do want kids to start thinking about, if I'm going to do anything after high school, it has to start now.
Anyone else?
I have one more thing. So you talked about kids that would go on to four-year school, two-year school, and then those that would drop out, but there's probably a pretty big middle in there of kids that do graduate that, are not maybe going on to.
And that's the group you're probably looking at the, probably not necessarily the top third, but then you have this other group in between the top 30% and the bottom 25%. That's that group that maybe get through, but they get through, and at the end of it, they don't necessarily have the skills to do much. What can we do to turn that around?
Yeah, that's what I want to be clear on. Like when we go into this, who are we really targeting? Are because you mentioned dropouts, right? But there's that big middle probably that is.
Well, what we want to target we want to prevent dropouts.
Sure.
The kids that are, the non-compliant behavior kids that just are not doing what's necessary to be successful in school. This probably would not be the program for them. But those kids that would get through high school, I think they're the group, that's that group you're talking about. I think that's the ones we really want to target. Because if they can get through high school, but if they could get through high school with a vocational skill set, it could be really powerful for them.
Yeah. I think it would be good when we do see this, or if we go further with it, to show tracks of different student groups.
Right.
And how they progress through the high school, right?
Right.
So if they're in that middle group, or if they're in the bottom 25%, or if they're in the top 25%, what are the tracks they should go through, and present it all together versus one at a time? Because I think as parents, you don't really know, should my student do this or should they do that? And I think just having them all laid out would make it a little bit better.
And the thing almost every school struggles with is the bottom 25%. Of getting them to a place that they're going to be more successful. Mm-hmm. And with the amount of resources that we put in for student support, social and emotional supports, we still haven't cracked that code. And we have to, because those kids will stay in our community, and we need to make sure that they're productive members of our community. I completely agree with you, Aaron. I think we can very easily show if you're going on to a post-secondary institution, 2 or 4 year school, it's pretty easy to show the track you'd take. Yeah. That next group that goes, I just want to get through high school, and then what? That's the group that I think this program can address. That other group, which is going to be the hardest group to probably come to some response for, we still have to figure that one out.
Okay.
I'm hoping, I really do hope though, with the coming together into one middle school, we have all the 7th and 8th graders together, that we can get better at helping kids connect to the high school before they ever get there, and see some connections between what they do in the 9th and 10th grade and the rest of their life. But we're also going to need help from parents on this too.
Well, we'll be excited to hear an update.
Yeah, and I'm also going to say any opportunity we have to work with MCC has always been really a great experience. They are just so helpful and anxious to try and do some new things. I think this would be helpful for our high school. I also think it'd be really helpful for MCC.
Anybody else? So letter B, is there anything under that?
No.
All right, so I think you're up again. Students will learn in a positive and supportive environment. We're going to hear about the Muskie Super Summer STEAM Camp
Yeah,
Preservation.
Dr. Steele is going to share that.
Good evening. It's a pleasure to be here. I'm Candy Steele, principal at Jefferson Elementary. This was my first year this year, and what a time it was. A lot of fun. Great kids, great staff, and certainly a great school district. I'm so proud to be here, and thank you for having me tonight, Dr. Reeby. So I wanted to talk a little bit about Muskie Summer STEAM Camp. We are having a great time. I don't know if you guys have heard about it, but we have over 180 students participating. And this program really was designed for acceleration. So it's really centered around improving math skills. So if you're a first grader and you're proficient in math, then this summer you're taking second grade math. If you're a first grader and you're struggling in math, or you're a reluctant learner, you get to practice first grade math again. And you don't even realize that you're in a situation where you're practicing because you're with some really wonderful students that love to learn. And then our reluctant learners are there just growing just as much as the other students. And so we're seeing a lot of success with skill development. I walked into a kindergarten class this morning and Dr. Steele, we're getting smarter every day, every day. And I'm thinking, yes, you are, and we're just so proud of you. We have a bit of a slideshow that Lisa created. Thank you so much, Lisa. I'm going to go ahead and play that and let you see what it's like at STEAM Camp. A lot of dancing in the morning, climbing our rock wall. Pretty sure we have some mountain climbers. Adding to and taking away using our stairs. Had our wrestling team come over. Who doesn't love wrestling? Amazing. Learning how to golf. This was a competition between the teacher and the students. The students run laps, and for every mile they run, they get one shoe charm. So if you run 6 laps, that equals 1 mile and 1 shoe. So if you run 27 laps, how many shoes do you get? And can you figure that out with adding, multiplying, dividing? This is our engineering, robots. We have our Lego robotics. This week we're doing engineering. It's created some amazing. So cute. I feel like I'm living in a dream. So the purpose was to help accelerate kids. It's 6 weeks, all day, every day. 5 hours of math, equivalent to 1 year's worth of math if you add it up each day through the year. This is modeled after something that we had done in Colorado, and it was really for the purpose of making sure that kids are dreaming big right from the get-go. So we've provided you with a little bit of a handout. It's math opportunities. You're never too young to think big. And you know, what we know about math is it really is a gatekeeper. And when kids get older, they'll take the ACT, they'll take the SAT, and what we find is if they've not had advanced math, they're not going to score as well. You know, United States Air Force Academy, you have to have a 33, at least that's minimum, on the ACT. If a child hasn't had high level of math, they're not going to score that. So when you look at the traditional track, 5th grade, 6th grade, 7th grade, you can move into probability statistics, But it's really hard to jump out of the track you're in because everything is based on 1 year of instruction. So with this particular camp, the thinking is that we'll allow kids to jump out of the track that they're in and accelerate. So we have a pre-AP math opportunity for 5th graders. That moves right into 6th grade and on into middle school and then into high school. And it allows kids, you can see the accelerated track. For kids that want to go, for example, to School of Mines, they need to have BC Calc in order to be able to really perform at the level that they're going to gain acceptance because it's highly exclusive and highly selective. At the same time, for kids that want to become, get the certification, maybe become a plumber, electrician, they're all going to need to be really strong in the area of math. That's going to accelerate them. It's going to really benefit them down the road. So we provided you with kind of a continuum of services just so that you can see through this program. We're going to hopefully continue to develop kids and accelerate them in a way that's going to benefit them down the road. And then also the competencies. So these are called I can statements. The kids have these, and so they really understand what it is they need to know and be able to do. And they can say, I can do this, or, I can't do this yet. And this is something that then we're working on, practicing with them. So our greatest hope is that we have students engaged in a way that creates a love for learning. It seems like they're having a wonderful time. We spent Tuesday working on math through water balloon fights. That was really fun, and it was hot, so it was a great time. And again, we've got all of our little runners. We have one little girl that's ran 10 miles, so she just is having a great time with exercise as well. So I don't know if you might have some questions about the camp.
I do have, not necessarily questions, some comments. First of all, I think we as a school district needs to celebrate stories, success stories like that. And I wonder if we can perhaps put this 2 or 3 minutes video on the website for the district so that everybody can watch and have the chance to see that. My question to you is, are you planning to do something similar every summer, or is it one time and let's see what's going on, the results, the outcome, and then based on that decide what we want to do next?
I think the wonderful thing was that all elementary schools put their summer schools together in one location, and we were able to then focus on this particular aspect of what we wanted to do. I think it's going to depend. Dr. Eby, you probably would answer that.
Yeah, I think this is the kind of model of summer school that makes a difference. The typical credit recovery kind of summer school doesn't work. And the only reason people really do it is because there's an expectation that you're supposed to do something. But you need to have, it needs to be long enough that kids can actually practice skills, learn skills, retain skills. So I think this is a great model that we want to continue. The other thing that we want to take a look at is how could we do a better job of combining College for Kids into some of this so that we have a program. Because I think you had some kids that had to go between one or the other, or came a little bit later.
The first 2 days, yes.
Yeah, and so I think we'd like to take a look at that. But I think this has great merit to it, and Dr. Steele's absolutely right. Math is the gatekeeper, and once kids get behind in math, it gets really hard for them to catch up. So, and I believe we had every school represented.
Yes, we do.
In the
Definitely.
program, we provided some busing. We provide breakfast and lunch. And the other side of this is that 180 kids in the summer are in a really safe, healthy learning environment. Our building is being used, and it speaks well for our community and the district, I think. And I just really appreciate Candy taking this on in her first summer and providing leadership with this.
It's been very fun.
So has it just started, or are we at the tail end of it, or where are we at?
We're into week number 4.
Okay.
Feel free to stop by. We'll give you a tour, let you talk to some kids if you'd like.
So it's continuing until the end of July?
End of July,
Okay.
last Friday in July.
Anyone else have any other questions?
I'm just like one example that you gave that strikes me the most is that having them filling balloons with water and fight and learn math this way. You know, most people think that math can be a boring subject. You know, I teach at the college math courses, statistics and probability and so on, and math can be a very fun subject. So I'm very happy to hear that you're approaching the subject this way. Thank you.
One of the biggest, the only actual issue of students being upset with one another, I was in the hallway and a little girl came out and she was so mad, 5th grader going into 6th grade. I said, "What's the matter?" "Dr. Steele, so-and-so," is another student, a boy, in there is saying he's smarter than me. And I am sure that he's not. I know that I'm smarter than him. And I don't like that he's telling me I'm smarter. So that's a good thing. All right, thank you so much.
Thank you, Candy.
Thank you. We appreciate your zeal for the program as well. Thank you. Okay, we're going to move on to our action item for the evening. The following items are considered to be routine by the Board of Education and will be enacted by one motion. There will be no separate discussion of these items unless the director so requests, in which event the item will be removed from the consent agenda and considered in its normal sequence from the agenda. So that being minutes, employment recommendations, bills and claims, Muscatine Preschool Alliance contracts, and special education contracts. What's the pleasure of the board?
I'd like to pull resignations off the consent agenda.
Okay. So we'll pull the resignation out of the employment recommendations. So can we have approval of everything else?
I move to approve everything else except that.
Okay, would there be a second?
Second.
Would there be any discussion? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Okay, so resignations. Nathan, do you have a comment?
Sure. For those of you who have seen the packet, and I've gotten some comments and questions, I've seen that Dr. Reevy is submitting his resignation, not right away, but in a year. And I just wanted to take this opportunity to thank him for the service that he's provided to us. It's been what, 6 years already?
Yeah.
So it'll be a total of 7, and you know, unquestioning in your support for the community. Would love how you've become a member of Muscatine, and thank you.
Oh, thank you. It's been, I was going to say my honor, but I come with a team, and I can speak for Jody as well, that we've been honored to be able to serve.
Well, and I'll just say that I think there were people, when it appeared in the Journal on Saturday, that were like, oh, this is imminent, and it's not. As board members, we know that this has been planned for, and we knew that Dr. Reevy was intending upon resigning at the end of the school year 2020. And so this is effective, when we vote on it, as of the 1st of July 2020. Anyone else? Okay. Would someone make a motion to accept the resignations?
So moved.
Would there be a second?
I'll second.
Is there any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Nay.
Are you serious?
Just for Jerry.
That's right. I had to.
There will be 6 grandkids that you'll have to answer to at that point.
He's up for it. Okay, our next item is discussion and information, and this is about the superintendent's evaluation.
Yeah, my recommendation to the board would be that you use the form that you've used in the past. And Lisa can send those out with an appropriate response time. The one thing I would recommend the board look at when they do this is not only an evaluation of my performance, but look at this as a model. Start looking at what are the skill sets that you feel like the district should look for in the next superintendent. One of the reasons that I wanted to give the board a lot of lead time on this is that we have a lot of really good things going on in the district, and it's going to be, I think it'll be really good for the district to be able to build on some of these strengths, and I think this is a great opportunity to not only look at evaluating my performance, but look at what would you like to see in the next person. And I think it's a good, that and with the audit that's coming through, you're going to get some more information that will help you look at what are that skill set, what are those characteristics, what do you need in the next leader. Because I'm a firm believer that everybody has a set of leadership skills, and and if you take an organization, you take an organization so far, and then you need someone with the next set of leadership skills. And so that's what I really hope you kind of start looking at some of these things that way. So
will you comment on the audit, because it's not a financial audit, it's an audit of an in-depth audit of our curriculum.
Of our curriculum by Curriculum Management Services. They're a national and international organization that will come and take a look at our programs. They will give the board some very specific feedback and recommendations for improvement steps, which I think will be very helpful in the search process. So I think there's going to be some really good information that the board will have to work with there. Lisa is the person that'll be kind of the go-between the district and the audit firm, and I think their plan is to start in late August, first part of September. Right now they're in the process of gathering various policies and other data points that they take a look at before they bring a team in. So I think the board is making the right decisions moving forward, and we'll be able to have some really good information to make a decision on the next superintendent.
Well, we know we have some really big shoes to fill, so thank you.
You know, feet come in different sizes, and but they all can move forward. So
We hope so. Anything else? We're going to move on to announcements and meeting events, and Lisa just informed me, we did talk about this at the last meeting. Online registration for the next school year has started. If you, as a parent, look in your email, you should have an email as of today giving you information on registration. Lisa also said she would be putting information out by social media tomorrow. I forget anything? Anything
Nope,
else?
I think you're good. It's on our website, too.
And one thing it's probably worth noting, since we're on television, the fees at the board were so generous in waiving a portion of those. They can be paid anytime from now until the 1st of October. So folks do not have to wait to register because of any financial issues. We just really encourage people to get on, register, and then you can go back on and pay the fees online.
And if I don't
between now and October.
have access to online, how do I do this?
You can go to any of the buildings. I think there's a calendar of that'll be in the announcement of when we'll have people available in the different buildings. Mm-hmm. We're trying to be as customer service oriented as possible. We've trained 6 or 8 folks to be available in different buildings at different times to help people when they come in. Because we do know we have some people that have not only some technology issues, but may also have some literacy issues, and so we want to certainly help them in the process. So I think we have a pretty good plan put together for providing opportunities for folks.
And could we do a press release, and perhaps the Journal would be so kind as to publish that for us?
Oh, definitely. Voice of Muscatine is reaching out to me as well, so
Okay, great.
we'll be getting that out. I do want to mention that Monday, July 22nd through Thursday, July 25th, we will all of our buildings will have extended hours, so we'll be open from 8 to 7 to help any parents that need help with online registration or have questions. We'll have more staff at each of these buildings, so this also will takes place of our August 1st registration date.
So say those dates again.
Sure, Monday, July 22nd through Thursday, July 25th. So Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday of that week. We are open, all of our buildings are open 8 a.m. to 7 p.m. to help with online registration.
So you could go to school and register online?
Yes.
Okay. Your school, or does it matter?
It doesn't matter.
And then also, what Lisa said, in the event that you didn't hear what she said, that all of this will also be posted on the district website. So tomorrow, I think, that will be available. But if you're a parent, you should have this information in your email today. The only other item that I have, unless someone else has something, is our next board meeting is August the 12th. It'll be here at City Hall at 7:00 p.m. So I'd ask for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
There be a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you all for coming tonight.
I need one on the record.
Well, you didn't put one.